Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to be talking about why every woman should travel by herself at least once in her lifetime. Because the solo travel is not just about visiting places, it's about growing and discovering parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Growing up, I used to struggle with very low self confidence and I did not believe in myself at all, especially when I was a teenager. And although I'm doing so much better today, I know that the biggest impact on my self confidence has definitely been moving to another country or visiting another country and doing it all on my own. I have traveled to many countries and lived in many countries, so you can imagine that I have faced many situations I was not really prepared for. The most recent challenging situation I had to go through is definitely my road trip in New Zealand, where I bought a camper van and I was traveling the country by myself, and suddenly the car started breaking down. And I didn't know what was wrong with it, and nobody knew what was wrong with it. And I was quickly losing money on repairs that didn't help anything. I didn't have anywhere to go to, and I didn't have anybody to ask for help. So you can imagine that that was very stressful situation for me. And after a few weeks of having really rough time, I decided to let that car go, buy a new camper van, and finish the road trip regardless. Facing this type of obstacle while traveling by myself and managing to deal with it definitely showed me that I was much more resilient than I thought I was previously, and it helped me to build my confidence. Now I know that I can solve any challenges that are presented to me, and I can take care of myself no matter what, far away from the safety net of my family and friends back home. Traveling solo also showed me that I can accept help from the strangers I meet along the way, and I realized that most of the people genuinely want to help you, and most of the people have only good intentions. When I came to New Zealand on my working holiday, the whole country went to lockdown maybe like 2 weeks after my arrival, and back then I only had my camper van and I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I had to accept a help from a stranger I knew only for a few days. And it was very scary for me. But at the same time, I knew that it was the right thing to do, and it just all worked out well. When I was traveling in New Zealand in my camper van, and I stayed in my camper van in different locations, I met many people, mostly old couples, that offered me to stay in their homes anytime I needed. And sometimes I accepted the help, and sometimes I didn't. And although a woman traveling by herself can be more vulnerable, I think it all comes down to learning to trust your intuition and follow its guidance. I think the inner voice is there for a reason and is right like 100% of the time, at least in my case. So I think if we learn to trust it and not ignore it, it can give us a lot of comfort knowing that we are protected, we are safe, and we are taken care of in any situation. So if I feel a strong pull to do something or go to a certain place, I know it's the right thing to do, and usually for a good reason. I also learned to enjoy my own company way more now. And I think it's because when you travel solo, you have more time to reflect and you have more time to learn yourself, to learn who you really are and make your own observations. Of course, when you travel by yourself, you sometimes wish you could share the moment with somebody, like with your friend, but at the same time, you don't have to do any sacrifices, you don't have to make any compromises, and you can just create schedule for yourself, the things you want to do, and you don't have to ask anybody. Traveling by myself has given me enough courage to start doing things I always wanted to do by myself, like multiple day hikes in the mountains, and stop waiting for others to join me. I'm sure that many of us have the desire to do certain activities or go certain places, but we are very scared to do it on our own. I was in the same situation when I wanted to travel to South America. I preferred to go there with a friend, but most of them they didn't either have money to do it, they didn't have time to do it. So I was told by many people in my circle not to do this journey on my own, since it's not like the safest travel destination for solo female traveler. But I decided to do this by myself. I was very nervous, but I'm so glad I did it by myself, because otherwise I would miss out on one of the best journeys of my life. Or when I went to America for the first time for a summer job, I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but the desire and the courage to experience something new and have some new adventure was much stronger than the fear of going by myself. I actually ended up having the best time of my life, the best summer of my life. And I ended up meeting people there who became my best friends, and they still are like 13 years later. So you can see that when you travel by yourself, you have more space to meet new people, and you have more pressure to create some new connections. I feel like that it's also quite refreshing to be in different country and in a new environment where nobody know who you really are, and you can just start completely over. So if you are still thinking about traveling alone, I say do it. You will make new friends, you will become your own best friend, you will learn how to trust your intuition, you will discover new level of self-reliance, and you will realize how strong and resilient you already are. If you watched this far, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.